Hello and welcome to another episode of FCC Fan TV. Nick here with Cody.
What's going on, guys?
And today we are going to do our match preview for week 6 against the Club de Foot de Montreal. That's all it is. Is there a CF in there?
Well, it Club de Foot is the CF, so it's CF Montreal. Yeah,
The Impact. We play the Impact this week.
yeah.
We're going to rebrand everyone back to what they are. Congratulations to the Columbus Crew for being the Columbus Crew again, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So rebrands, all the rage. Impact. We're going to go Impact because I will get caught up saying Club Day Foot for the rest of this.
Maybe it's because I'm not a Montreal fan at all, but like a lot of their fans hated the new badge. I didn't. I don't mind it. I don't think it's that bad.
I think it just took away anything that had any sort of symbol and
Oh,
meaning
it has zero identity. Yes,
yeah.
correct. It is an identity taker, but at least it wasn't like crew bad where the logo was just awful. Like the logo's fine, it just doesn't have anything to do with their heritage.
Is it supposed to be a snowflake?
Correct.
Huh.
I guess because it's cold.
It does get cold
Uh,
in Montreal.
Like
It
that's
is
the
right
best I
across
can think.
from Toronto and New York. Toronto's Buffalo. It's right across from New York. Got to get my Canada geography down.
Yeah, it's north.
All right, but really, they're down in Fort Lauderdale at Inter Miami Stadium for this week, so completely not even going to need that snowflake. They should rebrand that to a beach ball. Let's just start there.
Well, no, they should just have little droplets falling off the snowflake like it's melting. Just a 1-year rebrand.
All right,
But
off the rails. 2 minutes
Montreal,
in, so
yeah,
let's
right,
all right,
yeah,
let's
no,
get let's.
Montreal's they're good. They're a decent squad. 2-2 on the season, 5th in the East. And really, their 94th minute goal against Atlanta that Atlanta scored away from being 3rd in the East with 11 points. So a good squad to face. Um, and as we alluded to, they're playing down in Florida, so it's going to be hot.
Actually, I did check the weather when I wrote. You criticized my notes. I sent you a Snapchat of earlier. It might actually be the exact same temperature here, 81 degrees and like 50% humidity. So really, this game's
Oh,
basically in Cincinnati.
oh,
It just
okay,
happens
nice.
to also be
All
at
right,
1 p.m. on a Saturday in a very, very sunny stadium.
yeah. Well, and it's a complete neutral site, so I don't think there's really that many Montreal fans down in Florida. I could be completely incorrect, but so pretty much playing a neutral match on Saturday then.
Yeah, back to your
It,
point about that header against Atlanta. I had here they've given up 4 goals in their last 3 games. One was a penalty kick, and 2 were headers off of set pieces. Which was kind of into a theme I noticed here is they don't really give up too many goals in the run of play. They're very, as we talked before this, you really weren't sure how to peg them down because I think they've been very fluid and adjust very well depending on the situation and team they're against. They play the 3-5-2, 3-4-1-2, 3-4-3, however you really want to say it there, because they kind of line up a little bit differently every time. Sometimes they're slotting actual wingers in the back five, or they're slotting other defenders. But they've shown the ability to press high and run a high line when they want to. And then looking at like this last match against Atlanta, they were perfectly content to sit back, not have the ball, stay narrow and compact, and just counter. So Wilfred Nancy taking over for Thierry Henry right as the season started has done a very, very good job of keeping this team organized and really just not letting that derail the start of their season. Off-season acquisition for them, Jordy Mihailovic has been very good from everything I've seen. The rave reviews out from him from Montreal fans kind of gives them that attacking 10 is where they're slotting him in, not on the wing like he sometimes played for the Fire. And he's just kind of been an outlet for them and has really enabled that counterattack kind of happen when they need it to. But honestly, they've kind of plugged and played a lot over this roster outside of really the back three and kind of Wanyama in midfield.
Yeah. Well, and you usually ask me on our pre-match previews of, like, oh, what players are you kind of looking out for? And we briefly discussed before we started recording, but I have no idea in this match. And that's not a bad thing. It's the fact that they've had 8 goals scored this year, 7 from open play, 1 on a set piece. So kind of an odd mix. Like it's a very odd ratio there considering how they play. But 6 different players have scored and 7 different players have assisted on those 8 goals. They the goals and it comes from anywhere. They don't care. They play with 2 strikers up top usually, but they don't care who scores. They're not trying to feed one person. They're just trying to get ball in net however they can, and it's worked out for them so far this season.
Yeah, I will note. I'm not sure on the injury stats this week for Mel Kyoto for them. Very talented player that starts up top. I think he started all 6 of their games. He left in the 75th minute with an injury, and I think he was stretchered off. So I'm not really sure on the severity of that. I wasn't able to find anything. And then Mason Toy started the year with those absolute bangers against Nashville, I believe it was like week
Toronto
was it?
wasn't it?
I think he had one. He had 2 in a row where that were just outside the 18 and just ripped
They
them.
played Nashville in week 2.
Yeah, so I think he had one against them too. So, like you said, kind of goals have come from bunches. I'm not sure on his injury status too because he kind of was out of lineup with a knock, but he might be the one to go if Kyoto's out. And then this last match or midweek match they had against Miami, Bjorn Johnson had 2, and that's kind of the other big target man they brought in over the offseason, 6'5". Looks like he'll probably be a handful for our center backs come Saturday. Our very well documented inability, well, one, to just not let people score, but also set pieces and crosses. So I kind of expect them to do whatever. Like you said, I'm not quite sure really what to expect other than they'll do what exactly they need to do to try to put the ball in the back of the net. Like if the best route's going to be crossing it into Bjorn, that's probably what they'll do. If they find space
from Giles' side.
Yeah, if they find space down the wings, that's probably where they'll attack from too. I was listening to the March to Match Day from the Cincy Soccer Talk guys, and they mentioned that they slide in sometimes wingers as the wingbacks, and sometimes it's actual defenders. And they've also sort of rotated the midfield between holding midfielders and an extra attacking midfielder based on the opposition. I'm assuming they're going to throw the attacking complement of players at us.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and we'll see how that goes. But also in the mid there, I'm not sure where Piet kind of falls in as a holding midfielder, but him and Wanyama have been pretty solid as a pair. Kind of dual 6s, dual 8s, more on the holding side. What you want to say this season? Like they've just been all around a solid team. Yeah,
it's a solid squad.
Said, 2, 2, and 2. Are they tied for 5th? It's like 5th through 8 all has 8 points in the East, right?
No, they're solid 5th because of the goal. They have a 1+ goal differential. The goal differentials are starting to come into play now.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I think it's 4 through 7, 4 through 8. All have 8 points. So it's bunched in the middle.
Yeah, I expect a very tough challenge down there. Little concerned, as you mentioned, with the Heat, just the way we can kind of roll this into what we come into of what FC Cincinnati, how we expect from them to kind of attack, how play against. We have a lot of players that leave the game cramped up very early, and I'm not excited for a 1 p.m. kickoff in the sun to have that go any better.
No. Well, at least we don't. Okay. I liked Greg Garza, but this would be a game where Garza would start and be out 10 minutes in, which I think that was the case against Orlando when we played there 2 years ago. But no. The fact that we're already struggling and that this game's really kind of pivotal for the rest of the season so far because we need any kind of points we can get. A 1 p.m. kickoff in Florida against a solid team is not what I want to see.
I will say, though, on a positive, Laurel and I think Pat Brennan, they were at training today and tweeted out some notes. Only one player wasn't a full practice with the team, and that was Pedersen. So everyone on the injury report, besides Vanderwerf and Kovacevic, who are still listed as out entirely, no one was listed on the injury report. So hopefully all those little minor knocks and niggles and cramping and just small stuff looks like what it just added up to a first starts for a few players, but hopefully we got everybody match fit come Saturday.
Okay, so what do you want to see the lineup be then come Saturday?
What I want to see or what do I actually expect to see?
What do you want to see it? And we'll talk about expectations. What do you want to see?
Mostly the same, honestly. The only change I would probably expect to see is I think either Lacadia or Atanga is going to start at the left wing. either one I'm happy with. I think Harris just kind of looks a little out of his depth at this moment, and I think it's time to give one of those guys a shot. Honestly, I expect them guys probably do flip at halftime like we have been with Kadia. It looks like a little bit of minute managing still for him. So that, knowing how Montreal can employ the high press and just kind of a lot of pressure, and we kind of need to play out of it, I'm willing to give Vermeer a shot this game because this is what he's supposed to be good at, is playing the ball at his feet and sort of helping us out. So if we think the defense is solid with another start between, as we say, Cameron and Viacia, who are both healthy, and Matarrita there, and Cruz and Kubo in the midfield another time, I'm willing to see Vermeer out another game. I think in this game his strength is what we brought him in for. But it also wouldn't surprise me if we flip it again and go to Teton, even though I'd get really sick if we keep flipping every game. But I think this is the exact matchup Vermeer was probably brought in for, another high press team that presses very willing and ably when they want to. So this is kind of the point for him to show his strength.
So you'd rather see Atanga or Licati in for Harris, which I'm not even. I'm still on the Harris bandwagon, but I'm not arguing for him here. My patience with Licati still is just so short that like I'm to the point where if he's not showing anything in 30 minutes, he's out. It's not going to happen, but that's what I want to see.
Honestly, and that's kind of why I don't have any sort of knowledge about this at all, but everything we've seen rumored is that there's a minutes restriction tied to his loan. So we're not playing him full games. And knowing we're probably going to sub him out or sub him in, I think we'd be better off starting Lacadia, subbing in Atanga. Just Atanga's brought in, and everyone just all the highlights. He's a fast player. He's quick. Just kind of take advantage of that. Some tired legs in the second half. So I think Lacadia still offers more than Harris does at this point, and honestly, we've gotten very little to none production out of that left wing spot, no matter who's been there all season. So honestly,
Correct.
to me, it's just kind of a body, and at this point, I'd rather see Atanga for most of the minutes, but I completely get if we don't think he's ready yet. So it's not really who I want to see there, because honestly, I don't know who on this roster I want to see there. I'd like probably more Atanga, but the way they keep putting him in these 10-minute cameos, I don't think that the club thinks he's ready for that yet.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong and he goes out there and plays 90, but
you had sent me a joke earlier in the week, and it's really not a joke because I think it would work better than what we do. But instead of us being so strict on our 4-3-3, we would switch to a 3-4-1-2, which is actually what Montreal plays. It would fit our personnel much better. So although I almost say like your wishes is actually the expectation of what's going to happen, my wish is that we'd go 3-4-2, start Valencia, Cameron, Hagelin in the back. If you want to play Zhao on the right to start, I don't care. I would prefer Barrial, but you want to start Zhao and have him at the actual right wing back, fine.
see,
Left wing backs, what?
my little
Yeah, go
my
ahead.
little dream scribble here has to have Barrial at the wing, because I think Matarrita is the other one, and I think it's more of an unbalanced kind of version, to where it's more of a 4-4-2 in defense and more of a kind of 3 at the back and attack kind of thing. So, because I don't think Barrial is going to play any sort of defense. I wouldn't expect him to in that kind of roster. So it's just kind of more against teams where we think, well, I think honestly with Acosta in, we can kind of control possession a little bit more than we have been. So that's my dream scenario, to be us go 3 at the back there with those guys if they think they could pull it off with Kubo, Cruz, and Acosta, and then Brenner and Lacadia up top. I think that would put most players in slightly comfortable positions, because Barrial would kind of have room to roam. Matarrita could even have room to roam, and then we just still would have 3 at the back and just kind of keep it narrow and just kind of defend crosses and let the wings kind of just try to pump in balls. And I think with Hagelin and Cameron and Viacia in there, we'd be much better off fending those off through the air than we would in the past with Pedersen, who I'm on record as saying I don't think can jump.
Correct. But we know we're going to play a 4-3-3 because that's what this team plays. So I'm assuming we're both expecting the back line to remain the exact same. I don't see anyone coming in for Zhao right now.
Oh, outside of the left
I kind of
wing,
want it.
outside of left wing, I expect not a single change, and I'm not disappointed in that. I think that lineup.
I'm not disappointed except for Zhao, and I love Zhao, and I want him on this team. I'm over with the right back experiment.
I don't think that's going to change until we actually sign another player of starter quality to come in and play right back. Because I
You
think
don't see like Castillo slotting in there for a temporary time. Zico.
I'm thinking that they would already be in there if they were doing better than him in training.
Yeah, that's
Like,
fair.
if you got to beat the guy out in training first, kind of thing. Like, because what if they comes in and they're worse? That's worse. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know how it can get worse, but I don't know. I watched DePlon play on the right back for a while, so I actually do know how it
it's
can get
true.
worse. So I think they're willing to give Zhao time to keep trying to adjust, but I really do want to see some actual improvement until we just or sign a replacement.
Yeah. Well, we talked about earlier in the season, from game 1 to game 2 there was an improvement. We're like, okay, maybe he's getting better. But I feel like after game 2 he just plateaued so far. There's just been no improvement, and I'm afraid we're now. Granted, I know we've only played 4 matches, but I'm still afraid we've seen what he can do at the position already. Like, do you think there's room for honest improvement there? He's not a young player to mold. Like
No,
he's.
I think there's still room for improvement because he's just still like the position's completely different than even playing the wing back. Like the ball he lost over the top that Breck Shea just stepped inside him. That's not something he's probably ever defended in his life. Like when you're a wing back, like that ball, you're just not usually there at that back post. You know what I mean? That's just
Yeah.
so I think there's still room to improve from just being put in those situations. Now, if we play another one and someone they try to take him over the top again and he just loses the ball in the air and gets sidestepped, then probably done with it. But until he makes the same mistake like multiple times, I haven't seen him really do that. Except when he like runs up and gets cut out. But honestly, he hasn't even been running that far up the field. The last game against Miami, he really didn't make it that far into the attack. So until he makes the same mistakes again and again, I think he's gonna get the leash to kind of just keep trying it because really we don't have another option.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna break away from kind of FC Cincinnati for a second. Are you supporting the stadium with your
Yeah,
shirt?
I'm a TQL fan today.
I thought I thought I recognized that
Yeah, I
shirt.
decided to support the guys at TQL
Yeah.
Stadium.
So for anyone that's not watching and is listening, he is wearing a TQL shirt, but it's like a
It's like
it's
a
a
charity,
charity.
yeah.
Yeah. So like I couldn't tell at first, and I was like, wait, does that
TQO
say
cares, man.
TQL? So
TQO.
Nick's supporting Nick's supporting the
Yeah,
stadium today.
I'm a
I like.
shill now.
Yeah. Okay. Another question then. Back to actual FC Cincinnati. Tactically, how do you want to see us adapt in this game to Montreal? Like, what do you think would give us that step up advantage against Montreal?
That's tough because
Even if it's a repeat of something we've already done, just something that
I
you
would
think could give
like
us
if we're gonna play that high press. We've shown we can make those kind of runs over the top, not cross it into the box. So I'd like to see more runs out of Barrial and Brenner, sort of like the one we did, not just take off and run a straight line, but kind of drawing here, just kind of the looping, rounding runs where you kind of run off the shoulder of one guy and kind of get in that weird in between to where you try to make the center backs really have to talk and communicate and you try to open up those holes. And I think if we can get some sort of kind of overlapping like U-ish shape runs, or I would talk about this in the match review, like I'd like to see Brenner sort of make some more of those drag runs across the center backs. Like anything you can do to kind of keep the movement and just kind of set something up. I think we've shown that's 2 games in a row now. We've tried that. We've kind of felt like we set it up, that ball over the top from Matarrita to Barrial. I wouldn't be surprised if we try it again. But I'd like to see us maybe try to get the ball over the top, down the wings more often. Not always go
and
route
I think
one,
that's
but I
something.
think it's something you got to be ready to do. And I think it would be, especially if like a Tonga starts, I think it's something we're definitely going to be planning for. Even Lacadia, for all his faults, is pretty good at winning the ball in the air and bringing it down. So
It's the touch after that
yeah, and
hurts.
then sometimes like he brings it down, and because of the position he's in, he needs that sort of run to lay it off to. Which I think now with Kubo getting more comfortable in the midfield, with Cruz being in there, and he's more used to making those sort of like secondary runs And like I said, I want to see more from Brenner, sort of maybe running off from him, Acosta cutting into him. I just want to see a little more dynamic movement. But it's really going to start with, is Kubo going to look good under pressure, I think, building out of the back. I think Viacia and Cameron are going to give us a much better chance to play out of the back. They looked very comfortable with the ball at their feet and driving into midfield. So that's one way you can beat the press. And then just kind of, if Kubo's able to make the turn, if we're able to get the ball into Acosta's feet, and just kind of a array of attacks until we figure out where they're weak, which if they're starting more attacking players, it might be down the wings. It might just be through the middle if they're playing two attacking midfielders instead of two holding. So it's going to be lineup based, but I think with the team starting to click a little bit on the runs and the movement, and we have the players in there that can make those runs and movement, it looks like now. It looks like another switch is like flip for Barrial, where he wants to be, where he's comfortable. So that's nice to see. So I want to see, and Acosta get the ball at his feet. He can do great things. I want to see a little more out of Brenner. Maybe not dropping as deep to receive the ball because then he kind of takes himself out of the play, but maybe a little more just kind of flashing runs up top, like I said. So it sounds dumb, but just little steps of improvement, I think, will, when we have the players in now that can do it a lot more, it looks like. So.
Yeah. So you touched on what I want to talk about next, which was my player to watch, and my player to watch this game is Kubo. This is a team that will press us, and we'll be 5 games into his 8 testing, I guess. And it's time and he's progressed. He has steadily progressed, and there's no one can deny that. He's not the best player out there, but he has steadily progressed at that 8 spot. But this is going to be a game, 5 games into the season now, where we're going to test him and say, okay, are you our 8, or do we need to reconfigure the lineup again? We talked about it on the last show. He's got to look up. That's what you and I look for every time. Is but the balls that he gets that ball passed to him. Is he looking up? I don't care if he looks up and passes it backwards. If that's the best play, that's the best play. But he's got to look upfield. And I think this is kind of be the match where a lot of it's on him in the midfield. And I hope Cruz starts again. I think if Makoto starts, we're already at a complete disadvantage right now. So you really hope it's him and Cruz, and I feel like Cruz is a good complement to what Kubo is trying to do.
I completely agree. Like, I think Kubo did well against Miami on the turn, but once again, Miami's not a high pressing team. Typically, they'll hit you right on the other side of the half circle and just kind of start the pressure there. They have very specific trigger points, and they're not trying to run themselves ragged, especially just a bit of an older roster. So Kubo had the time to turn there and really wasn't under a lot of pressure. So it'll be interesting to see how he'll do under a team that I expect to high press us, considering how poorly we've reacted to it against Nashville. I don't even remember who we've lost to at this point. Who else have we lost to? Nashville, NYCFC, and Orlando. Those are all pressing teams.
Miami was literally a few days ago.
Yeah, well, I wasn't worried about them because I was talking about pressing, man.
Oh, I thought you were just talking about losses
No,
in general.
I already forgot. Like, I blanked on
that's
NYCFC because I hate watching games at stadium. So,
although I did, so I did watch NYCFC this past week, and I don't know if anybody else decided to watch it. I think it was the only match on at that time, and I couldn't tell you the player name off the top of my head, but
it was
the goalie came out. Was it Medina? When the goalie came out to clear, and Medina had his back turned to him and decided to jump up, and the goalie kicked it right off the back of his head, and it bounced off the back of his head right back into the goal. But they didn't allow the goal because they blew the whistle. But whoa, boy, that was a great time. I laughed for a good half an hour after that.
Got some FIFA level shenanigans right there.
Yeah. Oh, it was absolutely video game-esque. Okay, so we'll do this then. So we kind of covered what are we looking for in the midfield? What are we looking for from our back line? Give me one thing we're looking for this game from our back line.
Just like the small, honestly, I want to see us get better in transition moments when we lose the ball. Obviously, that's been one of our, I don't know, Achilles heels of multiple of them this year. This was right Achilles heel. Honestly, is what cost us against Miami. We did pretty well outside of that, but when we get caught in transition and players are rotating, it just kind of becomes a mad scramble, and we haven't done well. Once again, that was basically a whole new back and defensive setup again. Just small improvements there. I think with another week of Cameron, another week of Viacia, another week of Matrita and Zhao with them both, another week with Cruz in the midfield, I expect it to be more solid there. And then when the ball is turned over, just good decision making and just kind of stability right there.
Yeah, and I fully expect this match to see Viacia and Cameron get the start. Unlike last match, I don't see Cameron lasting as long as he did. We saw his legs kind of give out, and then it's still Florida at 1 p.m. And I know we keep saying that, but Florida at 1 p.m. sucks. I just don't. I see him. I like he'll be a second half,
I
but I mean,
think
like I'm talking. I see Hagelin coming on like 65th, 70th.
I'd prefer neither, but I think it'll honestly depend on what kind of game we're in. If we get caught in a track meet and those guys are having to scramble everywhere, then yes. But if we're able to kind of keep it not like just kind of a mid-tempo game, a lot of more battle in the midfield, I wouldn't expect either of them to come out. Uh,
So then once again, down to Kubo and
yes,
Cruz.
and Acosta. I think if we're able to kind of break their initial press and sort of settle into a nice balance, which we have once again haven't been able to do this season, is get through the press and actually retain possession without trying to make it a quick hit every time. I really would prefer not to sub out a center back any game. It just usually leads to poor things. Just
Yeah.
from a communication standpoint, you've got guys have been in there all game and they're comfortable and they know what they're seeing.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to see from the top of the lineup is for Barreal to continue what he's doing. He's been free roaming for about 2.5 matches now, and we saw him completely open up at the home opener. Three shots on target. All three of them were really good shots too. It wasn't just like a cheesy kind of chip right to the goalie. They were legit shots. Obviously, the one was a goal. If he continues this play, that we have found our right wing. Like there's no, and you and I wouldn't say we were hating on him at the beginning of the season. We were just like, oh, he was playing, like he was indifferent in the match. But whatever he went through to where they were like, okay, just kind of do what you want to do on that side. It's worked, and I want to keep seeing that. And I fully expect to see something. I don't know if we'll score again, but I expect him to kind of open up our offense again this week as well.
Yeah, so I think at this point, I'm gonna kind of term it. I've been trying to some analogy trains here. He looks like he's playing soccer and not thinking about playing soccer at this point.
Yeah,
And
no, that
I
makes sense.
think I'm hopeful that he was the first one. Costa always looks like he's playing like, well, just game comes naturally to him. Kind of the first one where he looked like he didn't kind of break out of that. Oh, I have to think about like, oh, I get the ball, I go here. It's just kind of get ball, go there. Like you can kind of see it kind of leveled up for him. As I made my analogy.
Even his passing.
Mhm.
So not even just his scoring, it's his passing. He's just knowing. I think it's getting to know your
Yep.
teammates better too, because it's almost like he's just predicting where teammates are going to be, and that's the mark of a successful team is knowing your teammates, knowing like, okay, if as soon as I one touch this ball, I'm hitting it, off the side of my foot this way, and I know, I'll just use Zhao as an example since we're playing on the side. I know Zhao is going to be running up this side. And I feel like Barreal is just understanding his place on that right side for our
Yeah,
squad.
and that's all. I just kind of want to now that I've seen that, I'm more confident that there might actually be an underlying system on the offensive side. I'm willing to
Eh,
exactly, like it's a first step. I just kind of want to see that like just another progression, because honestly, that's at this point, that's what the team needs to keep showing. Even if the losses still pile up, if they get better, if the like I just want to see those improvements, and seeing Barreal improve like that was at least very nice to see from these last couple of games. And like I said, it just looks like he's adjusted to that next level. So I'm just hopeful to see that from some kind of the other players that take that step. Like if Kubo keeps taking that step, if Cruz gets another start, kind of takes that step and looks comfortable. Acosta looks like we talked about this.
Costa's
Yeah,
fine.
but I
Yeah.
want to see him take that next step of trusting his teammates. Not
Sure.
yeah,
Okay.
so
Yes. Yes.
it's
Yes.
kind of next step like, oh, I understand, like I can trust him. He's going to do what he's supposed to do. Kind of see Brenner take that next step like, oh, I should be making this run here. That's really what I'm looking for out of this match. I still think we'll probably give up some goals if we want to go into our great prediction segment here where we've had some killers so far this season. What do you,
I nailed. Yeah, we both nailed the score last week. Just on the flip side, and I did
yeah, I'll give you the Hagelin one.
nag. Yeah. That I keep saying nag, but I mean Hagelin. I did nail the Hagelin goal. So, I don't know if I can continue the hot streak. We can go for 2 in a row. Do you want me? You started last week. Do you want me
Yeah.
to start?
What do you think? Scoreline.
Okay. Scoreline. I think This might be the first loss I've given us this season with like knowing Acosta's going to play. Um, I actually have to think about this one. You know what? No, I'm not going to give us a loss. 2-1, FCC.
Okay, want to throw out there who you think your goals will be? See what you can do. You don't.
Yeah, see what I can do this time. Um, this is hard. Okay, I'm gonna go Matarrita in no particular order. I'm gonna go Matarrita and Brenner.
I like it.
Yeah,
Solid. That'd be great to see Moderate again. Probably.
yeah, but he shot the ball. You know what I mean? Like it's not a far
Oh,
out
I don't
there.
know if I touched on this. I want to talk about that for a second. I don't like that Acosta hasn't been taking those free kicks near the 18. I get Moderita
Yeah, that
can,
hasn't made sense to me.
but you're our designated player number 10 and you were brought in here to score goals. Like, I want you to want those kind of thing. That was weird. I noticed that on
Yeah,
a couple of them that he let Moderita take, especially the one that was right at the top of the 18, he let Moderita take it. I get because, like, maybe the angle, but that still was weird that he let him. So, something to watch out
yeah.
for. I'm curious if he's going to step up to
Okay,
those.
I like that. Yeah. All right, what's yours?
I'm going to go 2-2 draw. I think
Hey, I'll take
I
the point.
think we're going to surprise some people on the road this week. Coming off of this, like I said, as long as that lineup stays majority the same and something to build on, everyone, like nothing catastrophic happens to it between now and Saturday. I think 2-2 draw. Obviously, I think we'll still probably have some issues on defensive transitions. Probably get beat on a set piece again from somewhere. But I think we'll probably actually score some goals from the run of play, maybe some nice setups. I think Acosta bags one, and I'm going to say if Cruz starts, Cruz bags one too.
Oh, okay. I like the Cruz one.
On one of his nice patented late runs into the box. I'm thinking Barrial cut back right to Cruz, and Cruz just blasts it home. And I won't not a Cruz back heel. He saves those for big occasions, but I think we'll probably see. I'm hoping some more progressive runs out of the midfield, and I think Cruz will get one.
Okay, so we're both predicting we're taking. You said a point. I'm taking 3 points. We're going down to Club de Florida, Montreal. Oh, okay.
Ponce
Hold
de
on.
Leon, was he from?
Well, I was thinking it's CF Montreal. So what's the C? We know it's Club de Football, but
Club
F is
Fort
yeah.
Lauderdale,
Oh, okay.
Montreal.
So if F is football or football,
Club de Foot.
F is Florida. What do we make C?
I mean,
Club de
Club
Florida,
Florida. Yeah,
Club de
it's
Florida,
club.
Montreal.
They're kind of Miami. They're kind of Fort Lauderdale. Clubs make sense.
Oh, so they are playing in Fort
Yes,
Lauderdale. Okay.
yes.
We touched on
They're
that. We
playing
couldn't figure
at
out.
Inter Miami Stadium in Fort Lauderdale. It's like the Los
Okay.
Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Yes,
Correct.
it's the Inter Miami Flamingos of Fort Lauderdale.
No, they're not. Is that their thing as the
Yeah,
Flamingos?
dude,
I know
that's
it's
why they're
Forward
pink.
Madison's. Oh,
They have a flamingo
I
too.
like I like Forward Madison's better.
I do. I'm glad they stole it from them. But
Yeah. Whatever the occasion was, they do it better. All right. So we got our score predictions. We're both predicting points. Any last takeaways?
we did officially sign. Oh, I forget his name. The super draft pick from Dayton
Oh,
was to the
yeah, from
roster.
Dayton. Yeah.
Oh, this is gonna bug me.
Clearly, we're extremely excited for the signing.
I mean, I'd like him, but he's not gonna play for the club this season. He's gonna get loaned out. He's an international again. Jonas Feldberg. That's it. Finally pulled it up. Yep. I mean, he was what the A10 Player of the Year 2 years in a row. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So who knows? I'd like to see eventually. This would be the great kind of thing we want when we eventually probably have our like FC Cincinnati 2 team, our reserve team. Players like him and Calvin Harris could be getting starter minutes against good competition, slightly better than US. Well, I don't know about that. Different competition than USL. I'm not. USL's gotten wild west right now, but I expect him to get loaned out at some point, unless it's some dire straits or he gets a green card out of nowhere. But always nice to see that he's got some promise. And I mean, who knows what happens with him? I mean, second round draft pick. If you strike anything with that, you just hit gold. So
Yeah. I mean, really, you hit goal with anything in a super draft, to be honest. But
unless you hit Daryl DK, and then you just that's like super gold.
yeah, but I mean, it's still exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I honestly, I don't want to get on another rant in an episode, so I have nothing to really say. Besides, let's go down to Club de Florida, Montreal, and Get a point.
Yep.
I'm saying 3, you're saying 1, but let's get a point.
Yep. And then I will see you Saturday for this game. We'll be able to be in the same place. The mascot Stella will be there, and she will be ready to
I'll
terrorize.
put her jersey on.
There we go.
Yeah.
Good luck, Jersey.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
exactly.
last time she wore it, we lost 5-0.
Oh, that is true. Maybe we'll see how we're doing.
Gotcha. All right.
If we're already losing, maybe the jersey will just be better luck at that point. Reverse luck.
There we go.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Cody, let's call it there. Have a great evening.
You as well. Thanks for listening, guys.